Hi, good morning and welcome to this video, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Food Sense Generation 4. So yesterday we went to the Bennington Chili Festival and we collected some samples there, and one of the samples we collected there was this Chili Gold. So I'm going to talk about testing Chili Gold. I appreciate the team there giving us a sample of the Chili Gold. Now when I talk about the Food Sense Generation 4, actually I've got one in front of me now. In fact, I'm going to do a live demonstration of testing that Chili Gold. So I just want you to know that this won't all be talk. I have the Food Sense Generation 4, the Scoville meter in front of me. I'll be putting a sample of the Chili Gold. In fact, here are the samples that we collected at the show. I'll talk about the sample prep in a minute, but then I'll actually do a live demonstration as well. So just a bit of a background on this. If you're a Food Sense Generation 4 client, don't forget there's personal online training. There's weekly webinars and there's also monthly webinars as well. So today I'm going to purely focus on a demonstration, but it's probably worth saying that if you really want to understand, you don't have to understand the science to use this, but if you're interested in the science of what we're doing, and we do monthly webinars, one in the morning, one in our afternoon. The link will take you to the most, or the upcoming, let's say, webinar, so you won't necessarily have missed it. As I say, we were at the Bennington Chili Festival yesterday. We did grab a sample of this particular gold chili sauce. When I got home, I weighed out, I was just trying to weigh out 0.1 grams. So I got 0.099 grams, which is close enough to 0.1 grams. I put that in a little vial. I added 0.9 mils of the chili buffer. All this, by the way, is actually in the instructions. Instructions are very concise and clear. But I added some buffer and then I vortexed it. I'm just going to change screens for a second just to give you a sense of what the vortexer looks like. Vortexer can cost about £50 off Amazon. This is a vortexer. It basically vibrates very fast and allows for rapid mixing. When I say that, I'll just bring in a better shot here. So actually this is a vortexer that I got off Amazon, about £50. Let me move that back into shot. So now I vortex that to help with the extraction. In fact, that's in fact, I'm just going to change screens again. That's a better picture of the vortexer rather than that aerial shot that I just gave you just a minute ago. And then we tested it. Now, when I tested it, this is a screenshot of my app. I'm just going to turn off a few screens here. It actually came back and said it was too high. And it said dilute more, and it also said upload complete. So every time the Food Sense Generation 4 runs, it will either give you a result, but whether it gives you a result or not, it will send the data to the cloud. But I can see here that when it says too high, the too high basically means this has got quite a lot of chilies in it, and therefore the capsaicin is actually quite high. It's telling me to dilute more, and I will tell you what that means in a minute. And it also says upload complete. So when I went online and looked at the raw data, I could see why that was. By the way, you always have access to the raw data. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to understand it. But if you do want to understand it, come to one of our webinars. So I could see here that if you see that signal is very flat, that's often with instruments, when the signal just goes too high, it just flatlines. So that actually flatlines. That's the first indication that there was so much capsaicin in here that in fact we could, the instrument was asking to dilute it more. And I will explain that in a minute. But we could see the classic capsaicin peaks. We call this peak 1, we call this peak 2, and we call this peak 3. So this is the classic, let's say, there's definitely capsaicin in here. When you look at that, you can see that's a very distinctive kind of, can I call it a pattern shape? And also the software was able to kind of pick out the capsaicin peak that we were interested in. It's just saying that it's too concentrated. So what we then did is we then did a dilution. We took the 1 in 10 and we diluted it by another factor of 10. So in order to do that, I took the 1 in 10 solution. You can see it's nice and yellow here. We've done a 1 in 10 dilution. I took 0.1 milliliters of that and diluted it with 0.9 millimeters of the buffer. So you get a very clear sort of solution. It's not the way I would really like to have done it. Now that I understand that that this is relatively hot, I think I would have just done essentially what's called a 1 in 100 dilution. By taking the 1 in 10 dilution and further diluting it, I basically came to what's called a 1 in 100 dilution. Anyway, but I knew to do that, not because because the instrument or the system told me that. You know, when the app said, what did the app again say? I'll just remember those words again. The app said too high, dilute more, upload complete. So too high, too much capsaicin. Dilute more, that's the action you should be taking, and upload complete. So I did dilute more. The dilutions that we typically use are 1 in 10, 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000. So 1 in 10 is for fairly mild things, like a Tabasco sauce, which is about 5,000 Scoville heat units. Do a 1 in 100 sometimes for these hotter sauces. 1 in 1,000 you're starting to deal with chili powders, and 1 in 10,000 you're starting to deal with things like pepper X. So anyway, we ran through all of this. I then took the 1 in 10, further diluted it another 10x. So that gave me a 1 in 100. And now I'll do a quick demonstration of actually testing that. So I will take a sensor. I'm just going to take a fresh sensor, make sure I've actually got a fresh sensor here. Put that onto the unit. As you can see, well, you can hopefully see that this is actually, I'm just going to give this a quick vortex just to make sure that, you know, I only did it very quickly, make sure I've got the 1 in 100. I will take this sample. I will put 50, this is very clearly in the manual by the way, 50 microliters on that sensor. I will go to my app, which I'm doing now. I'm in the app, and I'll go to assay. I'll do 1 in 100, start measurement, and off we go. So then it will come back with the results shortly. So what it's doing at the moment, it's not so clear because the screen's a bit bright, but it's progressing around. Let's say there's a progress bar. What that's doing then, see, is the instrument itself. There's a little flashing LED on the front here. So those two things are basically in sequence. That the progress bar tells me that the instrument's running, and also that the flashing bars also tell me the instrument's running, and then it'll come to an end. And I will get a result on my phone. But what I'm going to also do is I'm just going to show you that this data also goes to the cloud. So let me just... So it's come back with a result. I'll hold that up now. It's come back with a Scoville heat unit of 19,000 Scoville heat units. But I'm also going to show you that this is actually also sent the data to the cloud. Now, if you're very interested, you don't have to understand the science of this. It's not obligatory. You can actually just use essentially what's given on the screen. But I want to just share my screen with you just real quick. So let me just do that. Let me just go to the screen to here. Let me just do that now. And if you look at my screen, you can see this is the time and date. This is the raw signal. This is the capsaicin signal. This is our analyzed signal. Now on the app, it says 19,000 Scoville heat units, because what the app does is it actually just rounds it up to make it, you know, nice and neat. Because in reality, on the actual cloud system, it says 1.8 times 10 to the 4, or 1.899 times 10 to the 4, which is 18,999, but it's just kind of rolled. I was 18,990, but it's just rounded it up on the app, and that, you know, because the difference between 19,000 and 1,899 is not much difference to 1,900. I'm sorry about mixing those numbers up like that. I'm sort of thinking at the same time as doing the video. With that said, let me just change back to give you a quick, let's say, summary. So in summary, we went to the Bennington Chili Festival. We got hold of some of this gold chili sauce. I originally did a 1 in 10 dilution, but it was basically, there's too much capsaicin in there. But the app is actually quite smart, and the app actually knows that. And I could also confirm it by just looking online with the data. I did a further 10x dilution on that 1 in 10 dilution, and then that brought it sort of essentially into scale, at which point then the app reports that it's 19,000 Scoville heat units, and also upload complete. The upload complete is great because actually with the data in the cloud, I know when it was done, who did it, the date that it was done upon, and I can see the raw signal. There's a very high, can I put it, level of transparency in the way that the food sense generation 4 actually works. So I'll just wrap up now and say, if you've got any questions or you're interested more in the science of this, then please come to the next webinar. The next one happens to be on the 29th of August, but they're always, every month there will be a live streaming webinar demo and a much deeper dive into the science. And if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Okay, thanks very much.